Hello viewers, my name is Andre Pranata Prangarangit, and today I want to present Metallurgy, Chapter 9 about heat treatment of steel. This is the main reference that we use for my reference, Metallurgy for the Non-Metallurgist 2nd edition, edited by Arthur C. Radel. Introduction. Heat treatment is defined as controlled heating and cooling of a solid metal or alloy by methods designed to change the microstructure to obtain specific properties. Heat treating takes place below the solidus temperature of the alloy, and the purpose of heat treatment is to change the microstructure and properties of the solid alloy. 9.1 The iron-carbon system. Steels are irons with a small amount of carbon alloying. Iron by itself has limited structural usefulness because it is soft, like most pure metals. One way to increase the strength of a pure metal is to add appropriate alloying elements for solid solution strengthening. Carbon as a small interstitial element also can increase the strength of iron by solid solution hardening. However, solubility of carbon in iron is very limited, which imposes limits on solid solution hardening of iron with carbon. Cemented is a phase having its atom arranged in regularly repeating geometrical arrays. The crystal structure of cemented is an orthorhombic lattice, which is a bit more complex than either the BCC structure of Vernit or the FCC structure of austenite. But it is well known that cemented is not completely stable because carbon ultimately decomposes into graphite over time. However, cemented is sufficiently stable to be considered as a near equilibrium phase. That occurs when carbon levels exceed the solubility limit in iron. The morphology and distribution of cemented depend on the amount of carbon and on the same temperature history. 9.2 Common phase in steel. Heat treatment of steels requires an understanding of both the equilibrium phase and the metastable phases that occur during heating and or cooling. For steels, the stable equilibrium phase include Vernit, austenite, graphite, and to some extent cemented as a very stable iron carbide. The metastable phases are perlite, martensite, and bainite. 9.2.1 Cemented and perlite formation. The equilibrium iron-carbon phase diagram applies when temperature is held constant or when heating and cooling rates are slow enough to approximate equilibrium or isothermal conditions. The extent and shape of cemented formations depends on the amount of carbon and thermal history as described subsequently. The discussion center of the transformation of austenite in steels with three types or levels of carbon alloying. There are eutectoid steels with carbon content near the eutectoid point of 0.77%. Number 2, hypoeutectoid steels with carbon content below the eutectoid compositions. The last, hypereutectoid steels with carbon content above the eutectoid compositions. 9.2.2 Martensite. As noted, martensite is a metastable structure that forms during rapid cooling of austenite. Unlike the isothermal decompositions of phase constituents by diffusion, martensite is not a phase associated with thermal equilibrium. Thus, it does not appear on the iron-carbon equilibrium phase diagram. In contrast, the mechanism of Martensit transformation is diffusionless process, where rapid change in temperature cause a shear displacement of atom and individual atomic movement of less than 1 interatomic spacing. 9.2.3 Bayonet. Bayonet is a distinct metastable phase in steel that occurs when cooling rates are not rapid enough to produce martensite, but are still fast enough so that carbon doesn't have enough time to diffuse to form perlite. Like perlite, the constituent phase of bayonet are ferrite and cemented. However, the shapes of the phase are very different in perlite and bayonet. 9.3 Critical temperature and transformation diagrams. The critical temperature of steels define either the onset or completion of phase transformations. Three important critical temperature in steels heat treatment are A1, critical temperature for the start of the transformation to austenite, and the so-called euthoid temperature, which is the minimum temperature required for austenite to form. A1 is also referred to as the lower critical temperature. A3, critical temperature for complete transformation of the A plus 2 phase mixture into 100% austenite, referred to as the upper critical temperature. A3 is the high temperature boundary of the A plus solid solution phase region with carbon contents below the euthoid compositions of 0.77% carbon. ACM, critical temperature for complete transformation of the G plus Fa3 two-phase mixture into 100% austenite, and the ACM critical temperature is the high temperature boundary of the cemented in solid solutions with austenite in hypereuthoid steels that carbon is more than 0.77% of carbon. Transformations diagram. The kinetic aspect of phase transformation are important, as the equilibrium diagrams for the heat treatment of steels. In general, there are 4 different types of transformations diagrams that can be distinguished. These include isothermal transformation diagrams describing the formation of the austenite during heating, and isothermal transformations diagrams, also referred to as time temperature transformations diagrams describing the decompositions of austenite, continuous heating transformation diagrams, and continuous cooling transformation diagrams. 9.4 Annealing and normalizing. Heat treatment are not limited to just hardening and tempering. Various annealing methods are useful in developing more uniform microstructure and other combinations of properties such as ductility, permeability, and machinability. General annealing thermal cycles. Annealing cycles are varied according to the temperature and the method of cooling used. Annealing temperatures may be classified as subcritical annealing below the lower critical temperature or A1, intercritical annealing above A1 but below the upper critical temperature A3 in hypoeutectoid steels, or ACM in hypereutectoid steels, and the last supercritical annealing to achieve full austenitizations of either hypo or hypereutectoid steels. 9.5 Types of annealing treatments. Annealing treatments have various metallurgical purpose, such as stress relief, recrystallizations, and periodizations. The figure also includes the temperature regions for the normalizing of steels, which is a heat treatment to improve the uniformly of steel's microstructure. Number 1, stress relief milling is used to relieve stress from cold working. Care must be taken to ensure a uniform cooling, particularly when a component is composed of variable section size. Recrystallization annealing, when cold work metals are heated to a sufficiently high temperature, the badly deformed cold work grains are replaced by new strand-free grains. This process is referred to as recrystallization, which is distinct from the recovery process during stress relief. Spheroidizing, depending on the time, temperature, exposure of a steel, the cemented carbides in a steel can form different morphologies, such as the lamellar cemented of perlite, or a network of cemented along prior austenite grain boundaries in hyperrectotoid steel. Normalizing of steel. Steel is normalized to refine grain size, make its structure more uniform, make it more responsive to hardening, and to improve machinability. When steel is heated to a high temperature, the carbon can readily diffuse, resulting in a reasonably uniform compositions from one area to the next. 9.6 Furnace heating and induction heating. Induction heating heat treatment of steels involves a wide variety of methods for annealing, normalizing, hardening, and tempering. Fuel fire or electrically heat furnace are used in wide variety of configurations with various media. For furnace heating, heat treating furnace can be generally classified as either batch or non-continuous furnace. Batch type furnace, where loads are placed in the furnace and its loads are brought up to temperature together, and depending on the process, the furnace may be not be cooled before it is opened and the load removed. Continuous type furnace, which operate in uninterrupted cycles as workpiece pass over a stationary hearth or the hearth itself moved. 9.7 Hardening and tempering. Hardening of steels involves a three-step process of austenizations, quenching, and tempering. Sometimes an additional step of cold treating is done at low temperature below the martensit finish temperature of the steels. This ensures through martensitic transformations and the minimizations of retained austenite. Quenching refers to the process of rapidly cooling metal parts from the austenizing or solution treating temperature, typically from within the range of 815 to 870 Celsius for hardening medium and low carbon steels to a temperature as high as 1232 Celsius for hardening specific grades of high-speed steels. Quench media. Successful hardening usually means achieving the required microstructure. hardness, strength, and toughness while minimizing residual stress, distortions, and the possibility of cracking. The selection of a quench depending on the hardenability of the particular alloy, the section thickness and shape. Tempering hard steel can be tempered to reduce hardness and to increase toughness. All tempering operations are carried out at temperature below the lower critical temperature, or A1, of austenite formations. Plain carbon or low alloy martensitic steels can be tempered in lower or higher temperature range, depending on the balance of properties required. 9.8 Cold treating of steels. In many instances, cold treating is not done before tempering. In several types of industrial applications, tempering is followed by deep freezing and retempering without delay. For example, parts such as gauges, machine ways, arbors, mandrels, cylinders, piston, and ball and roller bearings are treated in the manner for dimensional stability. 9.9 Case hardening. Case hardening is a generic term used for several processes that pure a hard, wear resistant surface layer on the part. The combinations of hard surface and resistance to breakage on impact is useful in parts such as a cam or ring gear that must have a very hard surface to resist wear, along with a tough interior to resist the impact that occurs during operations. These methods of localized heating are well suited to selective surface hardening. However, selective carburizing and heat treating are also done. 9.9.1 Diffusion methods of case hardening. Surface hardening by diffusion involves the chemical modifications of a surface. The basic process used in thermochemical because some heat is needed to enhance the diffusions of hardening species into the surface and subsurface regions of part. 9.9.2 Localized hardening process. One way to produce a part with a hard surface and relatively soft core without altering composition is used to a steel with low hardenability. Other techniques include shell hardening, flame hardening, and induction hardening. 9.10 Heat treating equipment. In simple terms, industrial heat treating furnaces are insulated enclosures designed to deliver heat to loads for thermal processing. Basic elements of construction include an outer shell, refractory walls, hearth, roof source of heat or electricity or combustible fuel, and a means of accepting overcloth, moving it through the furnace if necessary, and removing it. Generally, furnaces are classified by heat source, or combustion of fuel, or by conversion of electric energy to heat, and by two broad categories: batch and continuous. Continuous furnaces are basically of the in one end and out the other type and are ordinarily used for continuous volume productions. They can accommodate a variety of heat treatment. Examples are roller heat furnace, moving hearth furnace, Husser furnace, shaker hearth furnace, and rotary retort furnace. furnace atmosphere. In many heat treating operations, parts must be heated under conditions that prevent scaling and loss of carbon. As steel is heated, its surface becomes more active chemically. For example, oxidation of carbon steels commonly begins at approximately 425 Kelvin or 800 Fahrenheit. As temperature exceeds approximately 650 Celsius or 1200 Fahrenheit. The rate of oxidation increases exponentially as temperature increases. Vacuum furnace. Heat chambers in this type of furnace are evacuated to a very low level depending on the metal and process by which metal is being treated. In most operations, evacuation is to approximately 1 torr, the unit for measurement of vacuum. Plasma furnace. A glow discharge plasma occurs when a direct current or DC of a few hundred volts is applied to two metal electrodes in an enclosure evacuated to a few hundred pascals of pressure. The resulting plasma is essentially a low-pressure ionized gas, and the process can be used to introduce carbon-bearing ions to the surface of steels for subsequent diffusion below the surface. Fluidized bed furnace consists of a bed of mobile inert particles, usually aluminum oxide, suspended by the combustion of fuel air mixture flowing upward through the bed. Components being treated are immersed in the fluid bed, which acts like a liquid and are heated by it. And the last, salt and liquid bed pot furnace. Beds of molten salt or metal can be used for both heat treating and heating applications. Pot furnaces are unique in that the media being melted is the source of heat or these operations. Heating in a molten metal usually is an age-old practice. A pot-type furnace containing molten lead provides an effective means of heating steel parts. That's all from me to present Chapter 9, Heat Treatment of Steels. Thank you very much.